it. In this clipping, we will understand the behavior of the marginal revenue and the marginal cost curve in a perfectly competitive market, and how producer's equilibrium is understood through the MR and the MC. Right? Now, in a perfectly competitive market, the price remains constant. When price remains constant, the MR is equal to the AR is equal to the price. That you have already understood, isn't it? So, let's move on to understand the behavior of the marginal revenue and the marginal cost curve. To understand producer equilibrium through the MR and the MC approach, the producer equilibrium as per the TR and TC approach, it was given to you in the previous clipping. It is a situation where the TR is much more than the TC, or the positive maximization of the TR compared to that of the TC will give you the profit. Right? Difference between TR and TC. If it's positively maximized, that indicates the profit, isn't it? Or rather, TR minus TC is indicated as profit. Okay? That is the first situation. Then the second is further production and sale of the output in the market should lead on to fall in the profit. Right? That is for the total revenue and the total cost approach. Alright. If it is a marginal revenue and the marginal cost approach, then what are the conditions? The conditions for producer equilibrium is that when the additional revenue generated is going to be equal to the additional cost of production, then that is where the producer is said to be attaining equilibrium. Let me repeat. When the additional revenue generated due to the sale of one more unit is equal to the additional cost that is incurred due to that additional sale that is sold in the market. Simply when the MR is equal to the MC, then a firm is said to be attaining its equilibrium. Right? So this is the first condition for producer equilibrium through the MR-MC approach. The second condition which confirms the attainment of equilibrium is that further production beyond this level, that is beyond MR equal to MC output, beyond the level of output where MR is equal to MC, if further production and sale is going to happen, then the MC should increase, right? The additional cost of production should become much more than the additional revenue that is generated. Then it is not worthwhile. Then it is not going to be worthwhile for the producer to carry on production, isn't it? Yeah, which producer would like to incur more and more additional costs and where additional revenue generated is going to become lesser? Yes. So let me repeat. There are two conditions under the MR-MC approach for producer equilibrium. The first condition is MR should be equal to the MC at a certain level of output, which gives maximum profit or minimum loss. Yes. Second is that further production and sale should lead on to MC becoming much more than that of the MR. Right? Or MC should increase. Alright? Right. So, in a perfectly competitive market, you know that the MR remains constant. Yes? So, as the output is sold in the market, as more and more and more is sold in the market, there is no change in the MR. MR is going to remain the same. Right? Let's say it is 10 at all the levels. So, if it's going to be 10 at all the levels, then what about the marginal cost? Once more, the cost whichever be the competition, whether perfect competition or imperfect competition, behavior of the marginal cost will be the same. Marginal cost will fall and then will increase. You know that in your cost chapter you have understood. In the short run, due to the law of variable proportions, initially when the firm is enjoying increasing returns to factor, the marginal cost will be falling. Later on, when inefficiencies crop up, what is going to happen? Marginal cost will start increasing, isn't it? When the firm is going to suffer decreasing returns to factor and negative returns to factor, then the marginal cost will start increasing, right? So MC falls and then it increases. Alright, so let us show that. Let's say initially the MC is 10 and then 6 and then 4. Then let us say it's going to be 10 and then 12 and then 15. Alright, yeah. So let's look into the difference between the MR and the MC, MR minus MC. We've got to find out MR minus MC so that we will be able to know which is the level where MR is equal to MC and what is happening to the MC after that particular level. Yes, this first level, this very first level of output, the MR seems to be equal to the MC, 10. Alright. So yeah, 10 minus 10, this is going to be 0, right? MR is equal to MC. Then what is happening here? 10 minus 6, so this is going to be 4, right? Let me write the observation here, right? More than the numbers, this is what is important. MR is equal to MC. Then at the next level, what is happening? MR is more than the MC, right? The next level, what is happening? MR, it is still more than the MC. Then the next level, look at this, at this fourth level, MR is equal to the MC, fine? One more level of output that is sold in the market. What is happening to the additional revenue? Still the same. But look at the marginal cost, it's increasing, right? So at this particular level, the MC is much more than the MR, right? MC is much more than the MR. What is it indicating? The additional production and sale is becoming unprofitable. Yes, it's becoming unprofitable. What is the additional revenue that is generated? Additional revenue is generated is 10. MR is 10. What about the additional cost that is incurred? Additional cost that is incurred is 12. Right? So additional revenue that is generated is much lesser compared to the additional cost that is incurred due to the production of that one extra unit. Right? So that's not going to be very viable. Fine. So ideally, the producer has to stop at this fourth level of output. Let me repeat. Ideally, the producer has to stop production at this fourth level of output because that is where the producer seems to be attaining the so-called producer equilibrium, where the MR is equal to the MC, or the additional revenue generated is equal to the additional cost, and production and sale beyond that is going to become much more costlier, in the sense the additional cost due to the production is much more than the additional revenue that is generated, right? So a rational producer will stop production at this fourth level of output because the rational producer seems to be attaining the equilibrium at that level of output. See what's happening here? MR is equal to MC at this fourth level of output, and more production beyond that level is leading to the MC being more than the MR, right? So the fourth level is the level of producer equilibrium. So this is the MR-MC approach, which explains to you the producer equilibrium in the form of a schedule, right? If we try and understand the MR-MC approach through a diagram, then how do we go about? Again, I will show the general behavior of the concept. Let me show a single panel wherein the marginal revenue as well as the marginal cost curves are going to be indicated along the y-axis, and along the x-axis the units of output will be shown. And the general behavior of the marginal revenue is indicated in the table there. MR remains constant at all the levels, running parallel to the x-axis. What about the MC? MC seems to be falling and then increasing. Alright. So yeah, maybe it is going to fall like this and then increase. It starts at 10 and then yes. So this is how it is, right? This is your MC and this is your MR. Fine. So once more, if you look at these two points, right? Let's mark it. This is a specific level of output which is Q, right? This is yet another level of output. Let's say it is Q1. At A, what's happening? MR is equal to MC. That is the first level in our schedule. MR is equal to MC. The first condition is satisfied, but still that is not the equilibrium. Why? Because further production and sale, the next level of output is produced and it is sold. What's happening? MR is more than the MC, correct? That is, additional revenue generated is going to be much more than the additional cost. So why will the producer stop at that level then? Additional revenue generated is much more. Additional cost is less. Right? It's profitable, right? So why will a person stop there? There is scope to produce more because there is a scope for profitability there. Additional revenue generated is higher. So no rational producer will stop at that level, right? Whereas like check out this level at B. At B, again, the marginal cost is equal to the marginal revenue. Alright. So, at this point, if you check out, producer might be attaining the producer equilibrium. How do we make that confirmation? We are able to make that confirmation because beyond Q1 level of output, if more production is going to be undertaken, then what's happening to the MC? See, MC is getting much higher than the MR. That is, additional cost is getting much more than the additional revenue that is generated by the firm, and that's not viable. So the profitability is lost. The gross profit is going to go down because additional production is going to result in some more additional costs compared to that of the additional revenue. So beyond this point B or beyond this level of output OQ1, the firm might not reduce. Or ideally at OQ1, at B, where MR is equal to MC, the firm seems to be attaining the so-called producer equilibrium. Alright? Yeah. So this is how through the schedule and through the diagram, the MR-MC approach gives you an understanding of the producer equilibrium theory in a perfectly competitive market. Right? So the same can be understood in an imperfect market also. Right? Now, imperfect market, I want you to recollect stuff. In an imperfect market, what is the behavior of the marginal revenue? Marginal revenue, it will continuously fall, become zero, and then it will move on to the negative quadrant. Isn't it? Yes? The condition will remain the same. Conditions for producer equilibrium will be that the MR should be equal to the MC. That's the first condition. The second condition, which confirms the producer having attained the equilibrium, is that after the level of MR is equal to MC, further production should lead on to MC becoming much more than that of the MR. Right? MC increases, and let me complete that bit. MC increases to make it such that MC is going to be much more than the MR. Alright, so let me use this schedule. I will just make minor corrections here. Alright, okay. So, we are going to understand the behavior of the marginal revenue in an imperfect market, right? And through that, we will understand the producer's behavior. Alright, now MR, it will fall, right? So then 10, 9, it is going to be, let's say 8, and then it is going to be 5, 3, and then 2. Alright, fine. Now, the marginal cost curve, it would be the same. In the sense, the behavior of the marginal cost will be such that there will be a fall and then there will be an increase. Marginal cost will fall when the firm is going to enjoy increasing returns to factor. It will start increasing when the firm is going to suffer decreasing returns and also negative returns. Alright, okay. Now, what is the MR? 10, 9, it is falling continuously. Alright, what about the MC? The MC could be 10, and then let us say it is going to fall to 8, and then it is going to be 6, and then 5, and then let's say it starts increasing after that, 8, and then 12. Yes, MC is falling and then MC is increasing. Alright, now let us look into the observation. Over here, MR is equal to the MC. The next level, what do we see? The MR is more than the MC. Next level, MR is still more than the MC. The next level, the marginal revenue is equal to the marginal cost. Fine. Then, the very next level of output, what do we understand? The marginal revenue is lesser than the marginal cost. Then one more level, the marginal revenue is becoming lesser than the marginal cost. Yes. So from this, what is the first condition? MR should be equal to the NC. So over here at the fourth level once more, we see that MR being equal to the MC, or the additional revenue that is generated is equal to the additional cost of production in the production process. Further production to the next level of output and sale of that level of output leads to a situation where the marginal cost is overtaking the marginal revenue, right? So MR is much more than the marginal revenues. This confirms that this previous level of output where MR is equal to MC is where the producer seems to be attaining the equilibrium. Alright, yeah? Now, if we show this through a diagram, how will we be able to show that? The MR continuously falls, it might go on to the negative quadrant. What do we measure here? We measure the MR and then we might be measuring the MC, right? Along the x-axis, the level of output. Alright? What about the MC? MC is falling and then seems to be increasing. Alright? So look at this. Starts from here and then okay. This is going to be my marginal cost and this is going to be my marginal revenue curve. Alright? So at this one point, we see the MC is equal to the MR. And this is a specific level of output which is going to be the producer equilibrium level of output. production beyond this OQ level, that would lead on to the marginal cost becoming much higher than the marginal revenue, which is not feasible one because the profitability reduces, right? So this is how, name this again, let's say E, at point E, at the level of output OQ, the firm seems to be attaining the equilibrium in this particular market, which is an imperfectly competitive market. In an imperfectly competitive market, MR continuously falls, okay, and MC falls and then increases, and at a specific level of output where MR is equal to the MC, there is the producer equilibrium attainment, and production beyond the level of output will be a situation where the marginal cost will be much higher than the marginal revenue, right? So that is a sufficient condition for producer equilibrium, right? So this is how in an imperfect market, the MC-MR theory gives you the producer's equilibrium theory, right? Hope you understood the concept. Namaste.